sit down. We are not face to face. We're 6 feet away from everybody and each other, so we'll probably let our masks down, so we don't want anybody to feel threatened by that at all. So we're following those guidelines. Again, the exposure that the Anderson County EOC's educated on us, the exposure risk is less than 6 feet of face-to-face contact unprotected for more than 10 or 15 minutes. So we're trying to keep everyone safe here this evening, and we appreciate you joining us. At this time, we'll call our meeting to order, and we will have our invocation. Everybody start.
Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, we thank you for this day, this time that we can come and gather as a town and discuss the town's business. Father, I pray that you be with us, watch over us, and protect us, and Lord, just that everything that's said and done here tonight may be done to edify and glorify you, and to bring peace and prosperity to this town. Lead us by your Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Could you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve our minutes from our July 6th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Councilman Alexander. Do we have a second? Second and discussion? Second and discussion?
Yes, second and discussion.
Second and discussion by Councilman Haygood.
Just one quick correction. If you look in public comments, we have there Vaughn Hunter is the one that made the comments from our last meeting, but we see Vaughn Harper. So if we can just make that correction from Harper to Hunter.
I got it. Vaughn Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you for that correction. Any further discussion of the minutes or corrections? Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve minutes as corrected. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Haygood. Any further discussion on the minutes as corrected? All in favor? Our minutes are approved. Thank you. At this time, we'll hear public comment.
Linda Roberts.
Good evening to our Honorable Mayor Dern and our council. As a resident of Williamston and a concerned citizen, we feel there is a need to address some recent criticism of our chief and police department that was expressed during your last council meeting. Chief Taylor and his department has always been professional and always been helpful to us in this community. Anytime we have called upon him and his officers, he has and is always, he's eager to help us find a solution. The police department, they cannot solve everyone's problem, but they will always try to lead us in the right direction. Chief Taylor, we as residents support you and your department efforts. Continue to do what you are doing as chief and know that we support you and your police department. I think we have a good police department. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments.
perceiving we, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself, Bonnie McCullough, as being racist or see this hatred. Also, again, the Citizens Advisory Board, I'm not sure if that's been on the agenda to form a Citizens Advisory Board for the police department. We're still asking for that. And we're asking to have someone on this board that's a citizen of Williamston, not someone that lives outside of Williamston or does not have any knowledge of ever living in Williamston. Because I think the last time, back in 2018, I was here and we asked, the chief had stated that he had went to a retreat and he had made efforts to have Miss Presley to go out into the community. He was electing her as some type of committee or liaison to do something for the community. I don't think they'd ever get off the ground because I never saw anyone stop by 304 East Carolina Street. Also, when we look at the police department, yes, it could be good. We do have some good police officers. I'm not saying that we don't. But when I call, I live in a high crime area. I don't know where these other people live. When I call, I don't know the response time, but they come when they get ready. And when they come, they never look to investigate. They just ride through. But they target my home looking at what's in my yard. You know, again, one of the police officers came to my home the other day, again, about that, about our concession trailer. We did move it into our yard. It's in our yard now, so he doesn't have to come back there. If he comes back, he should have a warrant if he comes back. I don't know why. You know, he was nice about it, but I know his thing was from the chief. The chief could have came himself and told me, or he could have called, or he could have texted. But you know, the chief has some type of, I don't know him again personally, and he don't know me. He has some type of vendetta. But the form of government that's here, you're the mayor, and you do the supervision, and you can fire and hire whatever. So at this point, when some of your council members, because back in 2018 when I made my complaints, I received a letter from one of the council members, you know, of the form of government, which I know. And he did say that he knew that East Carolina Street was a high crime area. To make this matter more, this morning, I work from home now. So this morning, I get up around about 3:30 or 4. There were shots right there at my garage door. Shots, and they're still coming from the same area. They know. I called 911 this time myself, gave my name, told them what happened, what I had heard. It was about 5 or 6 shots like they were coming into my window. When the shots were fired down here on Main Street, the officers, they immediately took care of that, or they found out who it was. When they come there, I've always been told by the chief, it's got to be probable cause, or we can't find it, or we know who they are, they get out of jail, da da da. But you know it's the same people, the same people. And 2 weeks ago on a Saturday, the same shots came from the same area, but I didn't call this time. My neighbor called me and told me she had called. I do see the police came down, they ride through, and then they never come back up to like look at the traffic or look at the area and see if they see anything or nothing, just coast through and go on. And at that point, they want to know, do you want to make contact? How is that? You know, maybe you're patrolling one area and they're getting, because when the shots were fired down here on Main Street, you guys immediately took care of that. You don't want any trouble here. I don't want any trouble where I live either. I pay taxes. Again, I'm a reputable citizen here, and I want to be treated fair as well. Also, on this past week, since we have so much to the utmost police officers, this past week there was a Dodge truck sitting right there on Greenville Drive, parked on the wrong side of the road, green in color, no tag. It sit there for 4 days because I watched it. One night I went out to the one of the little stores here in town, and the back lights were on some type of way, but the headlights were not on. There was never a sticker put on that truck to say that we are, like normally in Greenville County or something, they put an orange sticker on there to let them know somebody needs to move it. Nobody. You mean to tell me all these police officers, your resource officers, your councilmen, they ride through, no one saw that truck? You know, that could have been, I'm not sure what it was, but finally on Thursday night, I did see that there were like 2 or 3 vehicles there trying, I guess maybe it broke down or something. But there was no tag, no flag on the truck or anything. So how is that You know, you can monitor 304 East Carolina Street, but you cannot monitor what you see on Greenville Drive on Main Street. I have a problem with that, and that's all I have this evening.
Thank you for your comments
Thank
tonight.
you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Mr. Hunter.
We have a good town, but a town is an extension of a country. We have a clone of Adolf Hitler running our country. He is a clone. If this country don't do something about this man, we're going to be just like Nazi Germany. He is trying to rule this country the way Al Capone controlled Chicago. Adolf Hitler was a killer. He killed millions of Jews. Now, Donald Trump had declared war on this country. You're going to send troops into peaceful protesters in your own country. You're supposed to be bringing people together, not dividing people. He's a racist, he's a bigot, and if we don't do something about this Hitler clone, we're going back to Nazi Germany. So we got to do something. We got to get this man out of office. Get him out. They tried to impeach him, but the Republicans didn't have sense enough to do it. Now they wish they had. Get the man out of office. He hates black people. He hates Mexicans. He hates Jews. Anybody who's not white, he hates them. He can't. His Gestapo, they're afraid of him. Anything that he tells them to do, they do it because they are his Gestapo. We got to stop this clone of Adolf Hitler. But we got a good police department, but it is only an extension of the country. And if we don't do something about this, it's going to come into our town. The hate's going to come here. And it's time to turn around. We got to get this fool out of office. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hunter. Any further comments? Okay, hearing none, we appreciate everyone being here to share their comments with council this evening. At this time, we'll move on to reports with Chief Taylor.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Let me take this off. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody?
Doing well.
That's good, that's good. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about what's going on in the police department in reference to our South Carolina Municipal Association. We had an assessment this week with the association, and it reviews based on different policies and procedures that we have in place, different policies and procedures that we have in place. And since 2017, 2018, and 2019 and 2020, we've received 100% because of being in compliance with the state. Now, what that means is, I spoke with them today, and when it talks about lawsuits and those kind of things, in reference to law enforcement and the type of lawsuits that you have, in 2017, the Municipal Association set aside $3 million for 81 claims for liability issues, civil liability issues and lawsuits. In 2018, it was $2.7 million, and it was 90 claims. In 2019, it was $4.7 million in lawsuits with 70 claims. And in 2020, currently, it's around $150,000 so far into 2020. So it's important that we have these operational procedures, but not just have them on paper, but it's important that we follow these procedures throughout our process. So now what we're doing, there's legislation, they're looking at legislation. We just went to a chief's meeting, and one of the legislations they're looking at, there are three things. We're looking at the force of continuum of not restricting chokeholds and those kind of things, but moving them up to the deadly force. In other words, if you use a chokehold, it should be a time that you would use deadly force. It's not going to be a minimum. It's going to be the same as doing that. And this is some legislation that they're looking at, the use of force continuum. The other thing is, vehicle pursuits cost a lot of lives. It costs a lot of innocent lives. And so we have a very strict policy on when we pursue and those kind of things. The other thing is a policy, and we're going to implement this policy in place. It's called a duty to intervene. because I think it's important if you see something that's not going right, see something that's going right, then we have that duty to intervene. So that we're looking at that to a policy to address that. And for some of you that don't know, then the importance of following the different protocols and the different things is the Supreme Court, the South Carolina Supreme Court Justice has ruled against no-knock warrants. So you know what a no-knock warrant is, right? Where you just walk in the house and you don't have to identify yourself and all. Breonna Taylor was the use of the no-knock warrant, and she ended up losing her life over that. Well, the Supreme Court in South Carolina has said we cannot use no-knock warrants. So therefore, we have to make those adjustments in that. Also, we're looking at mandatory post-basic academy field training, more field training, and we're already doing the body cameras. But the other thing that we are doing is that accreditation. I believe that it's coming down the pipe where every agency is going to have a accreditation, a standard. Currently, right now, there's no standard in South Carolina, a standard that they have that everybody has to follow by. So I think what they're going to be doing, and I think what the legislators are going to be doing, is they're going to be setting up a standard that each agency has to measure by. And it's important that we, as administrators, as a chief and as an administrator, it's important that we make those efforts to go ahead and get ahead of the curve, because it's coming. And right now, it's only $200 right now to get in the program of the South Carolina accreditation. So that's where we headed. I have a part-timer. His name is Wes Smith. He was an investigator at Greenville County Sheriff's Office, worked homicide, worked all those things, but he also worked in the civil end of the lawsuits and the different things at the Sheriff's Office. He worked in that area as well. So he's going to be our accreditation manager. It's a part-time position where he's going to come in and he's going to help us and work toward the accreditation standards. So that's where we are in relation to that. We want to make sure that we're going to be the best we can be. Now, I also want to ask you if you want to have lunch one day since you're working at home. I would love to sit down and me and you talk. If you want to have lunch with me one day, I'd definitely have lunch with you if that would be okay. Well, me and you, we can talk. And I love to do that. So maybe one day this week we can have lunch and kind of talk over some issues and explain some things and those kind of things. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Can I ask you some questions, Chief? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, we need, let's keep it to a minimum, but that's fine.
How often do you evaluate the officers?
We do an evaluation on a consistent basis, on an ongoing system way.
How often? Once a year, once every 6 months?
Once a year there are evals, but we're constantly doing evaluations. We have complaints or we have policies and guidelines they have to follow. So when we look at those policies and guidelines, we have to make adjustments.
How long do you let the officers stay on the street before they have to come out and sit out a while? Because I believe the main problem is the officers stay on the street too long.
Well,
they need to stay on the street maybe 5 years and come out.
Yes, well,
and
that's
go in administration for a year and then go back on the street.
Yeah, well, that's
because they get cold.
Yeah, well,
they're on the street.
Yeah, well, that's something that there'll have to be a policy and that kind of thing and all of those kind of things. So,
Okay.
Okay.
But you have a good force.
Thank you.
You got a good time.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief, for your report, and thank you for taking those questions for us. At this time, we have on our agenda an Envision Williamston report. We do not have Envision Williamston with us this evening. You do? Come on in.
Envision Williamston asked to share a link on the town page. It's a community survey, input survey, and I posted that today. So if everybody could take a look at that, I put it in Spanish and English so that people could understand. If you'll go ahead and take that, that would be great, because they're trying to work with the Adam Chandler grant. Okay.
Okay. And just stay right there. Don't go too far, Debbie. We'll need a codes update. I think I've got a copy of that up here. Has everybody got a copy?
Yeah. I gave everybody a copy. Okay, on the codes update, I want to apologize, first of all, because it's not as lengthy as it normally is. I know it's pretty lengthy, but my computer died and had to get a new computer, and I lost some of my data that I was working on. I do have it in written form, so I'm going to have to go back through and put it back in. I did have the updates, though. We had one report of a dilapidated house. one report of a resident selling vehicles from their yard after proper notice, 4 complaints of trash and debris in yards, 1 complaint of TVs on the side of the road, and 1 barking dog complaint. We had numerous calls that continued to come in about 2 chronic nuisance locations, and both of these properties were recently condemned, so hopefully that'll slow that down a little bit. We have a lot of complaints that come in that can be handled immediately. I don't put those on that list, so a lot of times I know people say, well, you didn't have that on there, and they had seen it or whatever, and I was like, well, we took care of it right away. As dog complaints, we take care of them right away. It might be that we have to call the police department. They probably won't be on here, so a lot of times if you've asked me to do something or whatever and it's not on here, that's why. We take care of it right away. The next thing in the package is a census update. You should have the census update like this. That's actually a report from the Census Bureau in Atlanta. They wanted me to relay that this is their last punch this week before the census workers hit the streets. They want everybody to share their email, share census.gov. They can go on there under census.gov and do it online, fill it out online, or they can do it by phone or whatever. Williamston is at 61.08%. Thank you, Mayor Durham and Rocky Burgess helped us give out census information this weekend. I hope that pushes us up a little bit. We need to get that 100% because each household that fills that census out brings in $809 in federal money funding per household. That doesn't mean they get the money. That means that goes towards schools and roads and hospital systems and everything. So the census is very important for everybody to fill out. On August 11th, the census takers will be in neighborhoods, and like I said prior to that, you can do it online or by phone. If you're visited by a census worker, they ask that we please cooperate with answering the questions. They'll be properly identified. They'll have their identification on them. It'll only take about 10 minutes, and like I said, it's very important that you do that. In each package, I've also included a copy of 2 applications from Anderson County. This comes at the request of Councilman Haggett about demolition. The way we do on demolition is people will come up here for a letter of zoning compliance before they, demolish something or before they build or whatever. They'll come up here for that. This is just a little bit of an explanation of how it works after it leaves here, but I also included how it works before it leaves here. We, on demolitions, we try to tell people, you can do this, you can do that, but I'm going to put a note in the package when we hand that letter out. If they say demolition, I'll make sure that note is in there. You need to check this before you go there. Because we did that for the residential building, and it works pretty good. We make sure they have water and sewer. We make sure that the setbacks and all can be met so that they don't have, and if they need a variance, we go ahead and address that so the county don't have to send them back over here. So we're going to do that on the demolitions also.
Thank you so much, Steve.
You're welcome. And if you have any questions, any of y'all, after you look at that, just let me know, and I'll be able to hopefully answer it for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you, Debbie.
Oh, wait a minute, I forgot.
Yes, sir.
This past Friday, I had the opportunity to go to a heavy equipment rodeo at Tri-County Tech. It was really interesting. We've been working with them for over a year on trying to get some training for our employees. We have mentioned it over a year ago, and it come available that they have some grants that are $2,500 per person to send the workers to training. It's an 8.5-week course. And we thought that if you were to send the workers to that, then they could be certified and maybe use county equipment or something, because the county offered before to allow the town to use some equipment. if we had certified operators, so we thought that might be helpful. And you had the name of 2 employees.
Yeah,
I
we've
had
got
to
2
turn it in
candidates,
today.
yeah. We've got 2 candidates I think will be participating.
Yeah, I had to turn those in today. I just want to let y'all know about that.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate your report this evening. With no other reports, we'll move on to old business, and having none, we will move to new business. Item 1 is resolution strongly advising the use of face coverings. Make a motion for council to consider this resolution this evening. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Haygood. Any discussion? If not, call the question. All in favor? Okay, we will read the resolution at this time. It passes. This is entitled Resolution Strongly Advising the Use of Face Coverings. Whereas the 2019 novel coronavirus COVID-19 is a respiratory disease that can result in serious illness or death by the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is a new strain of coronavirus previously unidentified in humans and which can spread from person to person. And whereas the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a public health emergency of international concern on January 30th, 2020, and whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, has warned of the high public threat posed by COVID-19 globally and in the United States, and whereas on January 31st, 2020, the United States Department of Health and Human Services Secretary declared a public health emergency in the United States for COVID-19 under Section 391 of the Public Health Service Act. And whereas on March 13th, 2020, the President of the United States declared that the COVID-19 outbreak in the United States constitutes a national emergency, which began on March 1st, 2020, and whereas also on March 13th, 2020, the governor of the state of South Carolina, the state issued Executive Order 2020-08 declaring a state of emergency based on a determination that the COVID-19 poses an actual or imminent public health emergency for the state. And whereas the governor of the state has subsequently declared a continued state of emergency in Executive Orders 2020-15 of March 28, 2020-23 of April 12, 2020-29 of April 27, 2020-35 of May 12, 2020-38 of May 27, 2020-40 of June 11, 2020-42 of June 26, and 2020-44 of July the 11th, and 2020-48 of July 26. And whereas the state is experiencing a dramatic increase in the number of identified new COVID-19 cases, and as of July 27, 2020, the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, DHEC, is reporting that there have been 82,071 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 1,452 confirmed COVID-19 deaths in the state. Whereas the number of COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths also continues to increase in Anderson County and the town of Williamston. And whereas if COVID-19 cases continue to increase in the state of South Carolina, county of Anderson, and in the town of Williamston, the demand for medical, pharmaceutical, personal, and general cleaning supplies may overwhelm sources of supply. The private and public sector workforce may be negatively impacted by absenteeism, and the demand for medical facilities may exceed locally available resources. And whereas health authorities, including the CDC, the Surgeon General of the United States, and DHEC, have recommended the use of face coverings as a means of preventing the spread of COVID-19, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Williamston strongly advises that all persons wear face coverings indoors at all times and outdoors when it is impossible to maintain at least 6 feet of distance from other persons. And be it further resolved that the Town Council strongly advises all businesses to require employees and customers to wear face masks. And this is our resolution the Council is passing this evening in support of a strong recommendation to wear face coverings. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 2 is a resolution that we would consider thanking and honoring the Brasher family. The Brasher family has generously offered to donate property here near Williamston to Tri-County Technical College, and this is a resolution thanking them for this generous offer, this generous action, excuse me. This is resolution to honor and express appreciation for Dr. Walter Brasher, Miss Christine Brasher, and the Brasher family. And I'll read this resolution. Whereas Dr. T. Walter Brasher was born and raised on a farm in Greenville County, where he learned the value of hard work and service to his community. And whereas at the age of 16, Dr. Brasher went to work for Jones Mortuary, a business which he would eventually own with 2 partners. And whereas while working full-time, Dr. Brasher earned a bachelor's degree from Furman University and pursued a graduate education at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary and Erskine Theological Seminary. And whereas Dr. Brasher has been awarded honorary doctorate degrees from Charleston Southern University, North Greenville University, and Anderson University. And whereas in 2008, Governor Mark Sanford conferred on Dr. Brasher the Order of the Palmetto, South Carolina highest civilian honor. And whereas Dr. Brasher has been extraordinarily successful in business, being one of the largest apartment builders in the Southeast, building and owning several million square feet of warehousing and manufacturing facilities, office complexes, shopping centers, and retaining a portfolio of several hundred acres of prime commercial property. And whereas Dr. Brasher was also co-owner of Realty Corp., a real estate investment company that has offices across the Southeast, and owner of one of the largest airline servicing companies in the United States, serving the airline industry from Florida to California. And whereas in addition to his success in business, Dr. Brasher has also been committed to his Christian faith in serving as an evangelist at events across the United States and hosting a nationwide radio and television show, You Are On Target with Walter Brasher. And whereas Dr. Brasher, his wife, Miss Christine Brasher, and their children have shown astonishing generosity in supporting higher education in South Carolina by giving large gifts and endowing scholarships to North Greenville University, Charleston Southern University, Anderson University, the Citadel, Bob Jones University, Greenville Technical College, and others. And whereas Dr. Brasher and his family are continuing their remarkable service to South Carolina by donating property in Williamston to Tri-County Technical College to expand higher education opportunities in our community. And whereas the Town Council desires to express its appreciation for Dr. Brasher and his family, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Williamston hereby honors and thanks Dr. T. Walter Brasher, Miss Christine Brasher, and the Brasher family for their tremendous success, commitment to faith and service, and their incredible generosity. And be it further resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Williamston specifically thanks Dr. T. Walter Brasher, Mrs. Christine Brasher, and the Brasher family for their donation of property to Tri-County Technical College to expand educational opportunities in the Williamston area. Make a motion that we approve this resolution as read.
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Alexander. All in favor? Thank you. And we do appreciate the generosity of the Brasher family. This was a tremendous gift and a tremendous opportunity for our town and our entire area. So we do thank them. At this time, we will consider a resolution, item 3, resolution of the Cherokee Road Extension Project. This project has been approved and recommended by the Planning Commission, and I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution as read. It's entitled, A Resolution Approving and Supporting the Extension of Cherokee Road. Whereas the town's 2016 Community Master Plan recommends that the Town Council take action to revitalize Williamston's downtown historic area, support expanded infrastructure, and support economic development, and whereas the Town Council believes that an important step in following these recommendations would be the extension of Cherokee Road to West Main Street in order to open up a major corridor into downtown Williamston. Whereas the Planning Commission has recommended that Town Council pursue the extension of Cherokee Road to West Main Street, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Williamston expresses its support for the extension of Cherokee Road to West Main Street And be it further resolved that town council authorizes the mayor to pursue grants and other available funding to complete this project as quickly as possible. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Alexander. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? And have none opposed. That will conclude our business for this evening. Do we have any other comments by council? Hearing none, let me just give a few thank yous. We do thank the towns for having such a tremendous response to our mass giveaway that was very successful over the weekend. We appreciate all those who participated in that event. We also appreciate the work the Planning Commission is doing. They are undertaking an update of our comprehensive plan, as well as considering reports that are being generated by Red City Planning through a grant with the town in Envision Williamston, a residential and retail plan. We also have some paving that we hope will be approved at an upcoming meeting of the ACTC on August the 10th. So be thinking about us in that meeting for a successful meeting. And of course, we do appreciate the donation of property to Tri-County Technical College from the Brazier family. It was an extremely generous donation. It is property that adjoins our current Careers and Technology Center on that side of town that could give us a great opportunity for expanded educational opportunities here in Williamston and in the surrounding community. We also have discussions going on to have collaborative ventures with Lander University. They're very interested in our area, and we'll have a meeting with them tomorrow. So we have ongoing efforts to increase educational opportunities in our town. We feel like education is the future for our citizens and for everyone in general. So we want to make those opportunities available to our citizens. So with that, I don't think I have anything else. We'll make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Councilman Haygood. All in favor?